Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a new week. Happy new week to us. My name is Heritage Adisa, market analyst at HFM Nigeria. Quickly, as usual, we'll check through the markets, check if there are any stories driving markets. What are the big stories? Did anything happen overnight? Really, what's really driving asset classes? If yes, it provides opportunities. If it shows the major sentiment in the market, and then if yes, how we can take advantage of all of this. But please always remember that this is just a communication material, and then nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as investment advice or investment recommendation. Users acknowledge that investments in FX and CFD products is characterized by a certain degree of uncertainty, and that any investment of this nature involves a high level of risk for which users are solely responsible and liable. What we have this morning in terms of the overall environment in the markets is, yes, a slight risk on, more positive starts. Generally, we have risk assets, trading in positive regions to start the day. I had this written down earlier. I said, recovery into month end continues amid US bank holiday, right? It's the start of a new week, and then risk assets are generally in a good spot to start the day. Equities are up across board. US futures up for the US 500 up around 0.53% so far today. Commodities are generally high across board as well. Yes, weaker dollar also helping commodities up. Oil prices are up. US oil up by 0.45%. Measures of volatility are lower, clearly supporting that more positive environment in the market, although bond yields strictly to be mixed. Yes, most high, especially on the Europe side, but the US 10-year is down about 0.21% so far. So there is that bad back of our minds. Having said that, the equity market continues that strong recovery from Friday, for most of last week, actually, as well as even the last two there. All right, as we approach month-end trading, right? Because over the last 2 months, particularly through April, was massive downside. May, most of May as well, massive downside. But towards the last 2 weeks, we've had strong recovery as well in equities, and that has still continued in today's session. Generally, there's not really been, so much heavy, news information flowing to the market. We had a couple from Europe where there's going to be talks between some of the key leaders on the Russia-Ukraine matter, but there's that. But in terms of real new terms, stronger moves, there's really been not so much in terms of catalyst from that end. Having said that, on the COVID side, COVID situation in China, that's been better. That's been more market moving and more, interesting for markets generally. We've had an improvement in the COVID situation. Beijing started to ease some of the lockdowns. Shanghai said it's even open or reopen even further, which is also a supportive factor for equity generally, especially the Asia Pac equities, and then spilled over across the world. Well, most of the moves that we're seeing so far are mostly concentrated from last week, heading into month end, portfolio rebalancing, as well as even profit taking, basically. You look at the FX space. Positive restone is very evident. You have antipodians being supported. Even the positives from China are also helping. Currencies like the AUD, for example, leading the majors. NZD also doing well as well. Even the CAD is also doing well. So what about oil prices, as well as overall positives, right? Having said that, you also look at it and say, the COVID situation, yes, is a good thing, but even apart from that, it also helps points to the fact that global trade could start to ease further, start to become even better, right? Providing further support for Chinese economy, also to help equities as well. So all of that also is a good thing, especially for the antipodians, particularly commodity currencies. There commodity currencies rather, particularly the antipodians, right? Having said that, the euro and pound are somewhere there in the middle, with the ECB still talking about rate hikes. Is that still a supportive factor for the euro? But so far today, we've not really seen that upside push strongly as well. For the British pound, UK are still in that economic turmoil there, right? Inflation sky high, tightening, yes, they have been, but the economy is not really doing well. So that is still a negative factor for the British pound. But there, apart from that, you have JPY USD, even CHF lagging the most amongst the major FX. JPY sitting at the bottom, followed closely by the USD before the CHF. You look at AUD versus JPY, key technical level around 91.00 has been cleared. That's a support level going back to, I think, 1st of April thereabouts. Look at it in a bit, right? And if you're looking at that as well, take note of the overhead resistance coming at 91.5 rather. 91.5. Let me just clear that out. 91.5. While NZD USD as well is also finding some form of resistance around 0.655. So there's that to pay attention to. Generally, today we have bank holiday in the US, Memorial Day, a day to celebrate those military personnel that were lost in battle, in war, in action, right? That clearly, since when you have bank holidays like that, it's possible to see light moves, light flows across board. But don't forget that we're also approaching month end. So clearly that could also see some burst of volatility jumping. So far right now, we have risk on start, equities up, commodities up, hybrid currencies up, survival currencies down, although one yield still a little bit all over the place. So that's just a cause of concern. But having said that, AUD NZD card leading, NZD JPY, JPY, USD, and CHF lagging, while Euro pound sits somewhere in the middle. Right on the calendar is a light one. Basically, not so much going on the calendar there. Yes, we have German CPI later on 12. Apart from that, we're expecting FOMC Walla as well on the wires. But having said that, there's not so much, in terms of key data points released expected on the wires. Now we look across the equity space, like I said, we are seeing that massive, strong push coming from Friday, Thursday. I mean, most of last week, really, and that has still continued, right? Right now, yes, we're trading in our at this 4200 key, area going back to it was 25th of April, thereabouts, very close area of support as well around 28th, resistance around the 3rd of May, 3rd, 4th of May. So at this level, nothing says we can't see some pullbacks, but I mean, right now, if we can clear this out to the upside, right, retest and look for further pushes higher, then that would be interesting in terms of further pushes higher for the likes of the hybrid currencies, particularly the antipodeans. Right? It's the same story really across other equity space. There's a moment, all right. Right, same story as well, upside into the session, continue to that upside. Right, at this levels though, over the last, this is a very strong rally, right? I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if we see some form of pullbacks. I mean, having to chase it at the highs there is a little bit tricky, especially now that we are having months. And yes, it's expected to keep it positive for equities, but there's still just, just a little bit of caution. I mean, at these lofty levels, it becomes a little tricky to try and buy at highs like that. You look across. Let's just look at the pairs, looking to pairs strength versus weakness. For NZD USD, yes, we talk about NZD being strong, USD being weak, but right now we found resistance around this key 0.655 level. That's also a key area of resistance going back to this was, I think, 5th of May thereabouts, even very close to late April, 29th, 30th as well of April, right? So clearly at those kinds of levels, I mean, pullbacks are really not going to be a surprise. What can we do instead? If you're still looking at this, maybe let's see, look for a rotation. I mean, there's a key area of support around the start of today, right? Was also the low in Asia, was the high going back to Asia yet on Friday as well. We could wait for a deeper pullback there, but at such lofty levels, right? I would like to see pullbacks, maybe towards this, preferably towards this key round number around 0.655. Maybe that would even be more interesting for me. But yes, upside is still there, it's still expected. You look at AUD USD as well, similar story there. Let's clear this out. All right, similar story there as well. Upside, but like I said, you look at the kinds of the area we are trading right now. I mean, we are also heading into areas of resistance and just lofty levels here. And then you look at the kind of month end that we're heading into, it's just a Monday. It just makes it a little bit tricky. But if you want to still look at this, nothing says you cannot wait for a deeper pullback towards Friday's highs, like we're already getting, already the lows in Asia already. We could look at that, or even anything back towards 0.715. I mean, that could be interesting in terms of looking for further upside in today's session. You want to look at against JPY as well. Just a quick one. Let's just look at JPY quickly. JPY crosses. All right, so on JPY crosses, just quickly. All right, JPY crosses as well. Just look at AUD JPY as well as NZD JPY. Right now, we are also finding some form of resistance very close to this, which is 91.5, previous lows, right? So, I mean, it becomes a little bit tricky to try and look at that. But if you can get a rotation back towards this round number 91.00, right? We already had a test already early in the session, like early in Asia. Right? But if you can get a rotation back towards that level, then maybe it'll be an interesting one to look out for in today's session. You look at NZD versus JPY as well, similar story there, right? We've cleared out this key, it's 3.00 round number, although in terms of trying to leverage on the levels that we're seeing so far, right, just grinding higher just by a little bit, maybe a pullback towards Friday's highs, and then we can look for that upside. But like I said, yes, the risk on is there. Equities are up. They've been up for a couple of days now, coming from last week through last week, and then hybrid currencies that supported NZD currencies are, safe haven currencies rather are down. But the bank holiday in the US may lead to more slower day as well going forward. Apart from that, we also have already this month end, so we could see some choppy and then messy price action, right? So that means that you want to also be very careful, especially heading into resistance at lofty levels, fairly on these risk sensitive pairs as well as assets. So having said that, you look at the calendar today, it's really, really a light one, right? Yes, we are expecting German CPI, but later in the day, or just this is just going to reaffirm the high inflation we have in the US, in Europe rather, and then it means that the ECB should still continue to push for further hikes, looking for stronger. Some calling for 50 basis points, some for 25 basis points, but we'll have to see how that plays out. And later we're expecting Wall as well on the wires. So basically after that, there's really nothing major on the calendar. So we could see a very slow day, and alternatively as well, because of month-end flows, we could see very choppy and even high volatile day as well. So have that at the back of your mind as you approach trading today. So that's it for now. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I would always do our best to help. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of the trading session. Bye for now.